Er- Did I show you this one? I know, it makes me smile every time I look at it. They took that thing out and her mother shoved it right inside. Good, Maggie? You're welcome. Okay. Are we still good to go? One more. We're good. Okay. Good afternoon. This is Chairwoman Jane Lichter, and I call to order the meeting of the Board of Education of Baltimore County for Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. This evening's Board of Education meeting is being broadcast through the BCPS online live meeting broadcast and on BCPS-TV, Xfinity Channel 73, and Verizon Fios Channel 34. In order to efficiently conduct this meeting, all voting items this evening will be done by roll call vote. May I have a motion to go into closed session as permitted by the Open Meetings Act as found in the Annotated Code of Maryland, General Provisions, Article Sections 3-305, B1, B7, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom it has jurisdiction, or any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals, and consult with counsel to obtain legal advice.
So moved, Harvey.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Savoy.
Thank you. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Staleski?
Yes.
Dr. Savoy?
Yes.
Mr. McMillian?
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Dominowski? Ms. Henn?
Yes.
Ms. Frempong?
Yes.
Ms. Frempong?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Ms. Agumbe?
Yes.
Ms. Lichter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. This is Chairwoman Jane Lichter. I now call to order the meeting of the Board of Education of Baltimore County for Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. I invite you to recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag to be led by Ms. Forsyth Ngambe. We will then have a moment of silence in recognition of those who have served education in Baltimore County. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Tonight's Board of Education meeting is being broadcast through the BCPS online live meeting broadcast and on BCPS-TV, Xfinity Channel 73, and Verizon Fios Channel 34. In order to efficiently conduct this meeting, all voting items this evening will be done by roll call vote. The first item on the agenda is the consideration of the October 7th agenda. Dr. Rogers, are there any additions or changes to tonight's agenda?
Yes, good evening. I would like to postpone item K1, report on school start times, to a future board meeting.
Thank you. May I have a motion to postpone agenda item K, report on school start times, to a future board meeting?
So moved, Stoleski.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Ogumbe.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Lasky?
Yes.
Dr. Savoy? Dr. Savoy? Mr. McMillian?
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Dominowski?
Yes.
Ms. Henn?
Yes.
Ms. Frempong?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Ms. Agumbe?
Yes.
Dr. Savoy? Ms. Lichter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Earlier this evening, the board met in closed session pursuant to the Opens Meeting Act for the following reasons: to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom it has jurisdiction, or any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals, and consult with counsel to obtain legal advice. The closed session summary and the open session information summary can be found on board docs under this board meeting agenda date. The next item on the agenda is personnel matters, and for that I call on Mr. McCall.
Good evening, Chair Lichter, Vice Chair Harvey, Superintendent Dr. Rogers, and members of the board. I'd like the board's consent for the following personnel matters. Tonight we have retirements, resignations, and leaves.
Do I have a motion to approve the personnel matters as presented in Exhibits D1 through D3?
So move, Young.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second, Harvey.
Thank you. Any discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Lasky?
Yes.
Dr. Savoy?
Yes.
Mr. McMillian?
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Dominowski?
Yes.
Ms. Henn?
Yes.
Ms. Frempong,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
Yes.
Ms. Ogumbe,
Yes.
Ms. Lichter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCall.
Yes, sir.
Our next item is public comment. This is one of the opportunities the board provides to hear the views and receive the advice of community members. If not selected to address the board, members of the public may submit their comments to the board members via email at boe@bcps.org. The Baltimore County Police Department's Homeland Security Unit and Office of School Safety has recommended safety and security protocols which are posted in the boardroom and available in board docs and on the board's participation by the public website. While we encourage public input on policy, programs, and practices within the purview of this board and this school system, this is not the proper forum to address specific student or employee matters or to comment on matters that do not relate to public education in Baltimore County. Inappropriate personal remarks or other behavior, such as language that promotes violence against a BCPS employee or that disrupts or interferes with the conduct of this meeting, are out of order and will not be tolerated. Persons who otherwise disrupt or disturb this meeting will not be allowed to continue their remarks and will be escorted from the meeting. Please observe the 3-minute clock, which will let you know when your time is up. The microphone will be turned off at the end of your time or prior to that time at the discretion of the board chair. We're going to start with our system-affiliated groups to speak, and our first ones are from the Baltimore County Junior Council, so Ms. Sierra Bohara and Charlotte Molteres. Good evening.
Good evening, Chair Ms. Lichter, Vice Chair Ms. Harvey, Dr. Rogers, student member Ms. Agumbe, and other members of the board. I am Serena Bahora, eighth grader at Perry Hall Middle School, and I'm also the Baltimore County Junior Council Chair. I'm not sure if my partner is supposed to be here.
She's.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. There she is.
Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm Charlotte Molteres. I'm an 8th grader at Dumbarton Middle School, and I'm the vice chair.
First, I'd like to start off by saying that BCJC is a student-led organization that represents the middle school students in Baltimore County. BCJC strives to promote inclusivity, kindness, and diversity among students in our county.
So far this year, we've elected our current officers and appointed 12 amazing executive board members who represent 7 different middle schools throughout the county.
At the start of the school year, BCJC hosted a staff retreat in collaboration with BCSC on August 21st at the Employee Development Center. During our retreat, members got well acquainted with their team, learned about BCJC's mission, explored effective time management skills, and learned how to effectively use technology.
During our first executive board meeting last month, we reviewed our bylaws, expectations, the parliamentary procedure, and we collaborated with BCSC and their respective departments.
BCJC has a few events coming up, such as our next executive board meeting, which will be placed on Wednesday, the 15th at 6 to 8 p.m. Our Fall General Assembly is also coming up. It will be held at Deer Park Magnet Middle on November 8th from 9 to 1 p.m. Additionally, we currently don't have a community outreach director, so we will begin posting the applications this week, and the person will be elected on the November General Assembly.
BCJC hopes to see middle school student involvement directly. We are focused on increasing our outreach to middle school students by reaching out to SGA advisors and presidents to make sure that they are well informed about countywide activities and opportunities so they can share it with their school.
That's it for now. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to attend this meeting, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ramona Basilio from the PTA Council of Baltimore. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Chair Lichter, Superintendent Rogers, members of the board, parents, guests, and visitors. My name is Ramona Arthur Basilio. I am the Family, School, and Community Partnership Chair at the PTA Council of Baltimore, Inc. I bring greetings from our president, Ms. Weber, and also from the 4 million parents that are a part of the National PTA. Greetings. I'm here today, number one, to thank Dr. Rogers, members of her staff, this board, and others for a wonderful school startup. It has been a whirlwind for the last 6 weeks. But I'm also here in particular to talk about a calendar conversation. It's not necessarily about the calendar that we're going to be talking about later or that wonderful committee that I've been a part of. It's about the event that's happening now, Bully Prevention Week. I am wearing 2 buttons from a special needs student in a group that I call Students for Kindness. She has social anxiety. She's not able to really speak. She shows her kindness by doing buttons in her art. So I promised I would wear it. And today is equity. Yesterday was civil, and she made up these buttons. I'm asking if the superintendent and their staff, you're doing a great job with the calendar. For every parent that I talk to, there's something on the calendar. For a workshop, for training, for FACE, you name it, it's there, Mind Over Matters. This year, Bully Prevention Week was moved up. Normally it happens during the week of National Unity Day, which is the 3rd or 4th week in October. Since many school staff are still in the process of welcoming kids back, getting ready for the year, planning, back to school, you name it, I just want to encourage folks to elevate Bully Prevention Week so that it remains important. I know it's important because we've said it's important. Gun violence is important. Kindness is important. We really encourage the board, the superintendent's office, to look at the 3rd or 4th week of October. That is the National Bully Prevention Month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I forgot to say the things. Too late. I'll say those later.
Okay, thank you. Our next category are our unions, and our first speaker virtually is Mr. Billy Burke.
Good evening, Chair Mrs. Lichter, Vice Chair Mrs. Harvey, Superintendent Dr. Rogers, and members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening on behalf of CASE. Tonight, I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge both the significant work BCPS has done to implement the Oracle platform, and more importantly, the incredible effort of our school administrators, central office supervisors, and office staff have dedicated to putting this system into practice. First, I want to commend BCPS staff for their responsiveness. As CASE receives calls and emails expressing concern, both the CASE director and I have appreciated the timely and professional responses. I was provided with a demonstration of the Oracle platform, which has helped me better understand the system and communicate more effectively to our members. We've seen several supports put into place. School-based staff have been given access to assist, training sessions have been offered, and payroll support has been made available on Mondays to help meet deadlines. These are meaningful steps, and we sincerely are grateful for them. That said, challenges remain, particularly around payroll reconciliation. Principals and supervisors are reporting that they're spending 90 to 120 minutes from the close of business on Friday through the time the payroll is due on Monday. These leaders understand the critical importance of accurate and timely paychecks, and they are committed to doing the work. However, despite training, many are still struggling to complete the process efficiently. A frequent and frustrating issue we continue to hear is that administrators complete the work, receive an approval notification, only to later be informed of errors or that work wasn't actually submitted. There appears to be system glitches that send error messages even when no mistake has occurred. Yet when staff reach out for help, they are told to ignore these messages, which is understandably difficult when people's pay is on the line. I am not an end user myself, but I would like to offer a few suggestions for consideration. First, can there be a way to set default pay schedules so staff are automatically paid for their standard hours and only adjustments need to be entered manually? If principals can delegate payroll responsibilities, do they lose access to the process once delegated? There needs to be a way for them to delegate and still retain oversight. There is a lot of confusion around this. Finally, if payroll is approved by an administrator but then reopened by another user, it appears the data disappears from the principal's view. This may be the root cause of the erroneous error messages and approvals being undone. Any steps that can be taken to resolve these issues would go a long way in supporting the administrators and office staff who are working tirelessly under tight deadlines. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak on behalf of CASE.
Thank you. Our next speaker from TABCO is Ms. Kelly Olds. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Chair Lichter, Vice Chair Harvey, Dr. Rogers, and members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. We often hear in education that you can't have Bloom without Maslow. For anyone unfamiliar, what this essentially means is that students cannot be expected to fully engage in higher level learning until their basic needs are met. The idea is there needs to be an emphasis on prioritizing physiological and safety needs before expecting peak academic performance. I'm sure some of you are wondering where I'm going with this. These educational and motivational theories don't only apply to our children. This is how humans function. Right now, we have educators throughout the system who are continuing to give everything they can for their students each day while their basic needs are not being met by the school system. At the last meeting, I read a letter from the TABCO board about the many issues around pay and Oracle implementation. Tonight, I want to remind you that these issues persist. It was shared by BCPS at the last meeting after my remarks that the scope of the concerns was known, but new issues have come up. The issues include people not getting paid, being paid at the wrong rate, not having withholdings deducted, having too much withholdings deducted, the inability to make corrections for underpayments between pay cycles, as well as other issues. In dealing with these circumstances, some have been unable to pay mortgages and other bills on time, causing great distress. Keep in mind, this is after having to fight for raises that were promised to us by the school board, which were still not provided in full. Those who are impacted naturally speak with their colleagues about the issues that they are having, further reducing confidence in the system as there continues to be a pervasive concern about the accuracy of our paychecks. As I advocate on behalf of our members, I want to share gratitude for those who are working diligently to correct these issues. However, the errors continue as the morale continues to erode. I asked for a meeting with Oracle in an effort to directly address some of these concerns. This has not yet been scheduled. What is causing these issues? How are we holding the contractor accountable for their end of this multi-million-dollar contract? Where is the support to ensure that these pervasive issues stop and everyone can get back to doing their jobs rather than correcting errors?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next category are nonprofit community groups, and our first speaker is Kendra Brown from the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Upsilon Epsilon Omega chapter. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Chair Lichter, Vice Chair Harvey, and Dr. Rogers, and all who serve. It's my sincere honor to join you this evening. I'm Kendra Brown, and I serve as the Connection and Social Action Committee Chair of Upsilon Epsilon Omega Chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, serving Baltimore County. I also have the pleasure of being the 9th president of our chapter. Our current president is Dr. Nakia Showell. She sends her regards. I'm grateful to also have members here who are with us present in the room. I say thank you to Dr. Rogers and the school board for your efforts in support of the students, faculty, and staff and community of Baltimore County Public Schools. It is my honor to share on behalf of our chapter. Our chapter has served the Baltimore County area and community for 27 years. We are committed to the community through service, scholarships, and the execution of our international programs. I know firsthand the importance of ensuring that our voices are heard and that what matters to the community is on your mind. As members of the community, it is our duty to ensure that we are at the table forging the conversations that make a difference in our community. Our sorority has a rich legacy of service as we galvanize our sisterhood of more than 120,000 members to lead on the front lines of change, education, and advocacy. One of our core programs of service is the Advocate for Social Justice Program Initiative, and we are proud to set forth this work. Our education programming is brought forward in a number of ways. We currently partner with local Baltimore County schools for our CHIP program, which stands for Childhood Hunger Initiative Power Pack, and that is where we provide weekend and holiday meals for children within Baltimore County in the community. So it is answering the call for food insecurity. We also have set forth the AKA Youth Leadership Institute, a youth-led and highly interactive leadership development program designed to empower and engage young people ages 11 through 13. We provide educational services such as conducting programs, workshops, and field trips for the youth related to STEM, the environment, culture, and careers. We've also launched our Teen Ivy Academy in the school system to ensure that we meet the needs of high school youth relative to mentoring, character development, and community service. We host our Cotillion with Ladies of Vision Charities, which is a 6-month program open to high school juniors and seniors, where they participate in exemplary academic achievement, exceptional character building, and involvement in extracurricular activities and community service. We are committed to the education of our students in our community, and we're grateful to be a part of the work of forging empowerment and justice in our community. It is our honor to serve you, and we thank you for the continued partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Janice Washington from the Rising Sun First Baptist Church.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Marion Rogers, Chair Lichter, Vice Chair Harvey, and distinguished board members. I'm Janice Washington, a member and chairman of the Social Action Ministry at Rising Sun First Baptist Church, 2211 St. Luke's Lane in Woodlawn, Maryland. I'm a retired educator with 18 years of service as a special education reading and English teacher from Baltimore County Public Schools. It is an honor to be here tonight and to represent our pastor, Reverend Ingle D. Burns, and members of Rising Sun First Baptist Church to highlight our continued support of Superintendent Rogers and Baltimore County Public Schools. We have a special bond with Baltimore County Public Schools because 41 years ago, our church was founded and our early worship services began at Campfield and Powhatan Elementary Schools. And tonight we have members of Rising Sun who are here with us tonight. Many students of our church have attended, and parents, guardians, and stakeholders have supported Baltimore County Public Schools over many years. Rising Sun First Baptist Church has a long-standing and ongoing partnership with Baltimore County Public Schools around education, career, and college readiness, employment, providing school supplies, and volunteer services to the schools. We are here to say thank you, and we appreciate the outstanding leadership and professional service of Superintendent Rogers, her staff, teachers, administrators, support staff, and the school board for providing all students attending Baltimore County Public Schools. Baltimore County Public Schools place well in the annual U.S. News and World Report, which listed 2 high schools placed in Maryland's top 5 high schools, 6 placing within the top 50, and 3 among the state's top 12 school programs focused on science, technology, and mathematics. Eastern Technical High School and Western School of Technology ranked number 1 and 5 in the state. The Maryland Department of Education reported that the MCAT scores show that students have made significant gains in English and language arts and mathematics proficiency. 80 Baltimore County public schools saw increases in the percentage of students scoring proficiency in both ELA and math. Baltimore County public schools graduation rates are increasing and absentee rates are decreasing. These are stellar achievements that we must celebrate, and we are confident Superintendent Rogers and the school board will build on this success as we move forward. Rising Sun First Baptist Church continue to pledge their support and advocacy.
Thank you. Our next speaker virtually is Keisha Parker from the Baltimore County Chapter Delta Sigma Theta Sorority.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good evening.
Thank you. Greetings, Chair Lecter, Vice Chair Harvey, board members, and Superintendent Dr. Rogers. My name is Keisha Parker, and I'm the third Vice President of the Baltimore County Alumni Chapter, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Our chapter president is Lisa Danicho. Our chapter service area is Baltimore County, and we have served the families and students of Baltimore County area for close to 42 years. We want Baltimore County families to know and students to know that we provide scholarships to students. We have awarded, each year we have awarded nearly 25,000 scholarships to our students. Our scholarship awards range from $1,500 to $2,500 per academic year. We have 3 premier scholarships. Our LEAD scholarship, which was established as a renewable monetary award to assist students with their educational expenses while attending an accredited historically black college or university for up to 5 consecutive academic years. Our Memorial Scholarship, which was established to commemorate the memory of BCA members who made significant contributions to the community, and that's intended to help supplement 1 year of expenses incurred while registered student at a college or university. And our Quest Scholarship is intended to assist adult community college of Baltimore County students who are seeking an associate degree or certification that will enhance their career and educational goals. For the past 34 years, we have also provided Baltimore County students with the opportunity to participate in our Battalion Cotillion program, which is designed for high school juniors and seniors and college freshmen, where young ladies and young men take part in workshops focused on communication, community service, cultural, and social awareness. This past year, we have helped these students raise over $85,000 for their scholastic journey. We just want to thank Dr. Rogers for her leadership in ensuring that students have access to these scholarships and opportunities. And we are here always as a partner to Baltimore County Public Schools and look forward to continued service to the families and students of Baltimore County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jennifer Blalak from the Indivisible Baltimore County. Good evening.
Good evening, Chair Lichter. Good evening, Vice Chair Harvey, and thank you, Superintendent Dr. Rogers. My name is Jennifer Blaylock, and I'm a very proud mom and member of the BCPS community. I want to first commend BCPS for the clarity and preparation shown through active shooter training for BCPS staff, as well as the materials shared with families at the beginning of this school year. That same clarity is urgently needed when it comes to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, on or near our Baltimore County school campuses. Last month in Montgomery County, masked ICE agents detained community members in front of Eastern Middle School, terrifying students and families. Just last week, ICE appeared at a Baltimore County elementary school, forcing staff to act quickly to bring children inside. To my knowledge, that information has only been shared by word of mouth, and BCPS has not shared with the wider community. These incidents inflict enduring harm on individuals and communities, and I believe we must update our policies and procedures in response. I'm also a member of Indivisible Baltimore County, and we started a petition signed by almost 300 BCPS caregivers and community members calling for a clear, written policy and superintendent action. Specifically, we are asking for transparency on current protocols, know your rights and ICE identification training for staff, a community-developed response plan, immediate notifications for families, counseling after traumatic events, and reliable intra-school communication. I am also aware this issue was raised in the Policy Review Committee last year, but never reached the full board. Tonight, I'm urging the board to take the next step, bring forward a written policy and not just a resolution, and act upon the real concerns of Baltimore County community members. In addition to our petition, I brought with me the policy that was previously shared and recommended by CASA. Our students deserve safety, BCPS staff deserve clarity, and our families deserve transparency. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Lynn Lawings from the Baltimore County chapter of the Continental Societies. Good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Rogers, Vice Chair Lichter, I got it right, Vice Chair Harvey, and members of the board. My name is Lynn Lawings, and I'm the Public Relations Officer of the Baltimore County Chapter Continental Societies. I bring greetings from our President, Michelle McCoy-Jones, and our membership. Dr. Rogers, your commitment to listening, learn, and lead with humility is truly inspiring. You have opened the doors for collaboration and communication with students, staff, parents, stakeholders, showing us what inclusive leadership truly looks like. The board's solid foundation and your collective efforts create the stability our schools and community organizations need to make a meaningful impact. We at the Baltimore County Continentals, our children, our commitment, our concern drives every program we implement. We believe wholeheartedly that every child deserves the right to educational opportunities that inspire them, build confidence, and prepare them for bright futures. Here in the Baltimore County, we proudly support the mission through hands-on service, mentorship, and enrichment. We host literacy initiatives to encourage children to pick up a book and fall in love with reading again, understanding that literacy is the foundation of a lifelong learning. We will be partnering with Featherbed Elementary School on October the 28th for their Mathaween and Trunk or Treat, which we did last year, and it was a success. The children were happy and excited, and they get to make different things and have their costumes on and just learn having fun after school. Our investments and our programs are future. None of this would be possible without the visionary leadership from the board, from Dr. Rogers. Together, we share a unified purpose to every student in Baltimore County to make sure they have the tools, the opportunities, and support to thrive. Let us continue that. Let us stay focused on what truly matters, our children and their success. Dr. Rogers, your mission to listen and learn is exactly what communities need. We stand proud to stand with you, to support you, and to continue working hand in hand with the board as we move forward with hope and collaboration and commitment. Thank you, Dr. Rogers, and thank you, members of the board. On behalf of the Baltimore Continental Societies, we remain committed to walking beside you because together we can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for our public comments for this first section. We did want to provide some feedback to all members of our community who are here and those who are watching regarding the comments made about an elementary school and ICE enforcement actions. It has been confirmed by a head of security who also confirmed with the police that there was no ICE enforcement on our elementary school property, and that's just important information for our community to have. That being said, we remain absolutely committed to making sure that all of our students and our community members feel safe on BCPS property. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next category is individual citizens or students, and our first speaker is Sage Magnus Hill. Okay. Our next speaker is Sonia Busby. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, board members. We hear the word equity repeated often by BCPS leadership. In fact, today's theme in BCPS is equity. Yet for students with dyslexia and other learning differences, equity is not what families are experiencing. I'm a parent whose dyslexic son could not get reading intervention from our school, and I'm here to speak for parents who are not getting help. Children are placed in interventions for years that simply aren't effective. The data shows that they are falling further behind, and yet IEP teams continue to deny access to more intensive instruction from qualified teachers or in more supportive environments. When parents reach out for help to the compliance department or central office, they are sent back to the same IEP teams that continue to deny their children support. The board has no visibility to these ongoing failures because the special ed department has never shared data showing progress or lack thereof from the investment in Orton Gillingham. BCPS invested in a tracking system last year, but schools did not enter the data. As a result, central office, who makes curriculum decisions, doesn't know whether students, some who are now 8 years into Orton Gillingham, are making measurable progress. Meanwhile, special educators are reporting being pulled out consistently from intervention services to address behavior crises, leaving students without their mandated services. Even when services are provided, they are often not delivered with the fidelity required for students to succeed, largely because there isn't enough staff to meet the demand. We've heard directly from special educators who say they are overwhelmed and under-supported. This year, conditions have worsened. IEP facilitators have been eliminated from some elementary schools, school psychologists have left after pay reductions, and speech services continue to have an overwhelming caseload. There have not been any Orton Gillingham trainings offered this year for special educators. So if you are new to special ed, how would you be able to address the needs of dyslexic students in your school? We have heard that there have been many training concerns regarding the new STAR screener, which is what schools need to be using to meet the requirements of the Ready to Read law. We are hearing that paraeducators who are not certified teachers are delivering interventions to struggling students. Let's be clear, students with the greatest needs deserve the most highly trained educators. Families are doing everything they can. Many report that the only way to get meaningful help for their child is by hiring lawyers and advocates. This is not equity. Most families cannot afford this, and BCPS knows it. The result is a system that gives the appearance of support, while in practice, too many children are not receiving FAPE. Just like special educators, we are tired. We continue to hear the same stories over and over again that we have been hearing for more than a decade, and BCPS continues to fail too many students. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mark Ferengo, and he is virtual.
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can. Good evening.
All right. Good evening, board members. My name is Mark Vernego, and I'm the parent of a dyslexic child. I came to BCPS hoping my son, who was struggling in a private school to learn to read, would finally get the support he needed, and instead I was deeply disappointed. We initiated the child find process with BCPS. Our son was tested and found to have a specific learning disorder in reading, performing at a kindergarten level while in second grade. The IEP team told me he would receive 30 minutes a day of Orton Gillingham instruction in a small group. But this was the same intervention he was already receiving, the intervention that was not working, in which we had already explained to the IEP team. When I asked how these strategies would help him catch up to grade level, my question was dismissed. Even more troubling, the special educator told me it was acceptable for students to remain years behind, as long as they made some progress. She even admitted there were fifth graders at the school still reading at a first grade level. That is not acceptable. These students being so far behind is an example of not using data schools are gathering in a way that ensures a child is making significant enough progress to close their gaps. Successful interventionists constantly monitor progress and constantly adjust to avoid stagnation. When there's little progress, immediate change is needed. Sadly, in BCPS, too many students are receiving their interventions with minimal progress year after year, causing too many to be so far behind. After learning a lot through this process, we chose not to enroll our son in BCPS, and we are fortunate to have that option. Most families don't. And that is why I'm here tonight. As a system, maybe it's time we stop focusing on how many students can read and instead pay attention to the larger number who cannot. Then we need to ask, why is this happening, and what are we going to do to change the trajectory of those students? We enrolled our son in a private school that specializes in dyslexia, where teachers are certified and highly experienced in evidence-based multisensory programs. The difference in our son is night and day, and he's finally getting what he needs, but at a huge cost to our family. We should have been able to rely on BCPS to educate our son. 1 in 5 students has dyslexia. That is not a small number. Our children deserve instruction that works without parents having to leave the system or hire advocates or lawyers in order for our children to learn how to read. This is happening way more than this board is aware of. Please, for the sake of our students, like my son and thousands of others, commit to doing better. You have the tools, but you are not implementing them with the fidelity and accountability required to be effective. I have another student enrolled in kindergarten who we suspect also has dyslexia. Should we be able to expect that this student will be able to be educated in BCPS? Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jenna Guglielmini. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Jenna Guglielmini, and I am a BCPS school psychologist serving Child Find and infants and toddlers, both of which are 12-month programs. I'm here to speak about the consequences of cutting us from 12 to 10 months without any database decision-making. BCPS now pays tens of thousands of dollars less than neighboring districts. Most neighboring districts have 12-month psychologist positions, and their starting salaries range from $85,000 to $100,000 a year. Among the few 10-month positions, the salaries start at $82,000. Baltimore County psychologists are now 10 months with a whopping $71,000 starting salary. We aren't even close. Due to the layoff, we have already lost 20% of our staff to those neighboring districts. As of July 1st, this resulted in 27 schools losing a psychologist, impacting over 15,000 students. Full-time psychologists are now working over 1 FTE to serve as itinerants at vacant schools. Virtual psychologists were also hired to fill this gap. However, as the name implies, virtual psychologists can only provide limited virtual services. Virtual psychologists and itinerants do not provide counseling or address the mental health or climate needs of the school. These solutions are like putting a Band-Aid over a hemorrhage. They do not work. In a recent survey completed by BCPS psychologists, many staff are considering resigning to work for neighboring districts after this year. Several staff have confirmed they will be retiring earlier than they planned due to the cut. Almost all respondents reported that they would stay if BCPS made our salary and benefits comparable to other districts. Unless we make changes, we will continue to lose psychologists every year, and we will never recruit enough to fill this gaping hole. New and experienced psychologists do not consider districts with poor pay and a history of cutting staff. They prioritize districts that offer competitive pay and respect for their employees. Unfortunately, BCPS no longer provides either. BCPS's reputation has already spread across Maryland and into neighboring states. If we don't fix this, if we don't make ourselves competitive, we will not be able to recruit and retain highly qualified experts in this field. With fewer psychologists, BCPS will see increased disproportionality in discipline and special education identification. Teachers will not have access to a dedicated psychologist for behavioral support. Students and families will have less access to mental health initiatives. Coming from birth to 5, we now do not have psychologists available to cover the duration of our programs. This past summer, my infants and toddlers' families only had access to me for 10 days because BCPS decided that was enough to meet the program's needs. In Child Find, families worked with rotating psychologists rather than one dedicated clinician because BCPS determined that that was acceptable. Child Find and infants and toddlers are often families' first experiences with the school system. How is this equitable? Please, we are asking for your support of our profession. Educate yourself on who we are and what we do. Special education assessments, counseling, behavior and crisis intervention, the list goes on. Talk to a BCPS psychologist. Listen to us when we say that we need to fix these issues before more psychologists leave and more students, families, and staff lose access to the full range of psychological services. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Nina Weiland. Good evening.
Good evening, board members and staff. Happy Dyslexia Awareness Month. My name is Nina Weiland, and I proudly represent the Baltimore County chapter of Decoding Dyslexia Maryland. We are grateful for the opportunity to speak tonight. Decoding Dyslexia Baltimore County chapter is made up of BCPS parents, teachers, administrators, and community members. We have been advocating in BCPS for more than a decade. We are deeply invested in the success of this system because our kids are your students. Our goal is to ensure that all students with dyslexia in BCPS are identified early, taught with fidelity by highly trained, certified educators using evidence-based methods for dyslexia, and given the opportunity that every child deserves and is legally required, which is to be educated and learn to read. In honor of Dyslexia Awareness Month, we would like to dismantle persistent myths that we continue to hear. Myth number 1, dyslexia is rare. Dyslexia is the most common learning disability, affecting up to 20% of the population. That's more than 22,000 BCPS students. Whether we acknowledge it or not, students with dyslexia are in every classroom. According to 2024 MSDE data, it shows that only 2.3% of BCPS students have been identified with a specific learning disability, which leaves many children underserved. Myth number 2, dyslexia can't be identified until 3rd grade. Maryland mandates reading screening starting in kindergarten for a reason. Because early identification is critical, BCPS is legally required to find and identify students with disabilities. Not identifying dyslexic students as early as kindergarten is a persistent concern in BCPS. Another common misbelief we continue to hear is that students have to be 2 years behind in order to be tested. This is not true. Myth number 3, dyslexia is linked to low intelligence. Dyslexia has no connection to IQ. Many students have average or above average intelligence. When given the right instruction, our students can be successful. Myth number 4, they just need to try harder. This is one of the most damaging myths. Dyslexia isn't a lack of effort. It's a lack of access to interventions or implementations of the right instruction. When students are not given the right tools and support, they experience widening academic gaps, anxiety, and preventable behavioral difficulties. Myth number 5, accommodations are enough. They're not. Audiobooks, speech to text, and extra time are helpful, but they do not teach a child to read. To meet the needs of students requiring individualized instruction, we must ensure that teachers are equipped and trained to deliver effective, systematic, multisensory instruction with fidelity.
Thank you. I just try again. Is Sage Magnus Hill present? Okay, then I will go to the wait list. Next speaker is Bash Farone.
We are still in the public, right?
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening to all. I forgot what to tell you, but anyhow, I really like to praise Dr. Rogers. I attended the last meeting in West Towson Elementary, a beautiful school, truly. And, for your focus, Dr. Rogers, for the thoughts you brought. Also, a special thanks to the MC, our director, communication director, Ms. Onijala. However, I counted visually about 15 parents in there, minus plus, including their kids, maybe friends. And I counted the employees in the meeting, and they were in the excess of 20. Most employees were security, communication, maybe 1 or 2 teachers. I don't think there was any board member at that time. So what I'm trying to say is that even though the communication of our superintendent is really very good, she is an excellent speaker, no doubt about it, but it's really not efficient system to have all these person powers for 15 members of the community. And of course, there were in the school lots of lights and lots of other personnel, the principal, secretaries, etc. Why am I raising that in these 3 minutes? You know my critiques always that the system is not really efficient, all right? This is really a sign of it. And I think it might be really good that our superintendent thinks to be more visible with the community. So the community is not lazy or apathetic. People are really busy. I am very busy. Everybody around me is very busy. You know, you can't just really attend meetings and expect large numbers. So if the people don't really come to you, I think, Dr. Rogers, you might want to consider you go to the people, be more available, more communicative, more mingling with people. And again, I thank you.
Thank you. Next is public comment on the proposed 2026-2027 school calendar. And our first speaker is Jeffrey Friedman. Good evening.
Good evening. Dr. Rogers and members of the board, my name is Jeff Friedman, and I'm a 19-year veteran teacher with BCPS. Thank you again to the board for requiring the calendar committee to provide you with a post-Labor Day start option. Calendar committee continues to push a false narrative that beginning 5 days prior to the Labor Day holiday increases student achievement. They clearly have no data to prove that this is the case. In fact, these days prior to the holiday are most often used for syllabi and getting to know you activities which have no impact. And our neighboring counties who start after Labor Day consistently have better data and higher test scores, which proves this argument invalid. Have you noticed that I'm not the only one pushing for a post-Labor Day start annually? Feel free to rewatch video of the comments from the last 6 years of the October board meetings, and you will find over 95% of the speakers wanted a post-Labor Day start. Have you viewed the online petition with almost 700 signatures? If that still isn't enough to convince you, then listen to the data from the most recent BCPS surveys. 64.2% of the entire BCPS community, they are our families, 81.9% of Ask Me members, 63.7% of CASE members, 69.1% of ESPBC members, 70.2% of OPE members, 52.9% of TAPCO members, and 71% of non-represented members all want a post-Labor Day start. If we average all of these numbers together, 67.6%, over 2/3 of our entire community, a large majority, is asking for a post-Labor Day start. They are asking you to do what is currently happening every year in our neighboring counties of Carroll, Hartford, Cecil, and many others. In the past, the argument for not doing this was because you did not have a calendar option with a post-Labor Day start. But now you have one, and there is no excuse. You can go right ahead and approve our post-Labor Day option as it stands, or you can make changes to the calendar as you have done in the past. For example, there are 2 extra professional days, not holidays, built into the calendar that do not need to remain there. Considering all of the extra half days already built in, you can easily remove these and end school 2 days earlier. We also continue to have so many non-required closing days, long breaks, holidays, half days, and other interruptions that negatively impact the learning of our students, which is concerning to me as a teacher. If we remove some of these, not only will we shorten the year, but improve consistent instruction. We are supposed to be building our calendar around what is best for students and listening to the feedback of our community. You have complete control over what happens next, and your staff and families are counting on you to listen. Start after Labor Day, cut back on interruptions during the school year, and make the calendar work. Take these steps to show the community that you are listening and being responsive. This battle will not stop until this situation is resolved. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker for the proposed calendar is Ramona Basilio. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back. Thank you for being generous with your time. I'm here today to talk about the calendar and 2 particular aspects of it. Back in 1997, there were a group of people who talked about the needs for improved literacy, the need for safety, the need for mental health, the need for protecting students. That organization was the National PTA Association. Now they're 4 million strong, and one of their benchmark programs is National Education Week. I bring this up because it's on the calendar, but we also want to elevate it. We want to have a conversation. It is not just a nice thing to do for schools. We are pioneering in reverse in terms of the whole student, in terms of their mental health, in terms of their safety, in terms of their food, in terms of their shelter, all of those things that at one time we thought schools did not have to do, but now we're there. So I bring this up as a calendar issue because some students are looking forward to it as a community builder. Some teachers and staff feel that it's one more thing to do. What we want to say is, let's elevate it. Let's make it meaningful. Let's make it relevant. We can pioneer in reverse. It doesn't have to be the time when people can come in and look at their child. They can do that almost any time. What we want to do is look at technology. We want to look at food, clothing, shelter. We want to look at supporting teachers during National Education Week. Let's rethink how we're doing it, and let's move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, the date is November 17th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker on the calendar is Dr. Ferrone.
Madam Chair, I think you skipped one public speaker, just FYI.
One public speaker?
Her name is Shannon.
No, her name was not on the list. Thank you.
All right, good evening. I know I sent you a small number of pages about the calendar. I am very thankful to Dr. Berger in about 1995 to appoint me to the calendar committee. At that time, it's called the Holiday Committee. Every superintendent after that has done the same. And I really put my observations for you. I hope you would accept them. Briefly, I do not think the calendar is done with the prism of focusing on the students. The members of the committee all are good people. I'm not really criticizing anyone in there, but that's the way it is. One issue is the pre versus post. There is no proof whatsoever, not objective, that starting the calendar before Labor Day is better for education. None. It's basically personal opinion. And as far as holidays, school days, inclement weather, it's just there are so many days that the students are taking off under one reason or the other. The spring break is, in my opinion, is too long. It's about 6 days, I think, plus the weekends. So if you add the numbers, give or take, between spring break, spring vacation, and professional days and professional half days, all those PDs and some others, it comes to about, in a year time, about 19 days that the students are taking off for one reason or the other. As you know, our administrators are rightfully so making sure that absenteeism is low. So we are giving students off for a lengthy period of time, especially in spring break. And those are days that they are not studying. They are not. It's contradictory. You can't really reconcile it together. I think the calendar needs to be focused on students and really be focused on objective data. And in that part, that is my observation about it. History-wise, I mentioned that to you in the past because I believe some of the members alluded to canceling some of the professional days for the religious holidays. What brought me up to this place in 1995 is that the school system is closing on the Jewish holidays and not on the Muslim holidays. And once that taken care of in 2017, basically my interest in the education system is to contribute in any other way. So if you, for reason or another, considering anything in relation to those holidays, I really wish that you would stick to equality as far as treating those. But the spring break is too long. The half days are just too much.
Thank you. I'd just like to explain about the waiting list. So we did have an opening for the individual citizens or students, but Ms. Banu had signed up as a nonprofit community group, and that's why I had gone to the, not on the waiting list, on the waiting list. Okay, I'm sorry, I was just going with what was on the waiting list, so I apologize for the confusion. Okay. Next on the agenda is the superintendent's report, and for that I call on Dr. Rogers.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Lichter, Vice Chair Harvey, and members of the board. I'm pleased to provide the October 7th superintendent's report to you and our community. If we can pull up the slides. Next slide, please. We will begin with a short video around our community conversations, and after I will share more information about what our focus has been and what it will continue to be over the course of the next month. Thank you.
We're so excited that you're here with us tonight. We look forward to hearing your thoughts and feedback on this process.
Parents, students, teachers, and administrators united during the first of several BCPS community conversations with Superintendent Dr. Miriam Rogers. The focus, developing the BCPS strategic plan, a plan for the future.
We can't do any of this work without dedicated people, and so we have invested heavily in professional learning to make sure that people are equipped with the updated, most recent strategies, that we are crystal clear about what our expectations are, and that everyone is equipped to do their best work.
The topics at hand, 4 key initiatives: academic achievement, infrastructure, safety and climate, and highly effective teachers, leaders, and staff.
As much as I expect, the teachers and the facilitators, right, and the school admin staff to invest in my kids, I have to be there to advocate for them. And so I can't always say, oh, it's on you, and I'm never there to support, to try to help shape our kids' future. So, I want to be here, I want to be a part of how we can make our child's lives better for parents and for futures.
The strategic plan is still in its draft phase, but when it's passed by the Board of Education, this community can be proud in knowing they had a hand in the future of BCPS students.
So thank you to BCPS-TV for putting that together. Once the PowerPoint comes back up, we want to talk about our focus. Our focus is on the strategic plan, but really gathering feedback. As you know, over the last 3 years, we have used our community conversations where families have spoken to us directly about what their needs are, what their experiences are, to guide our focus areas. They are depicted on this slide. During these meetings where we gather feedback, we want to hear from community members, and part of that work is rewinding, is to share what the differences are between what happened 3 years ago versus where we are now, so we can come together and develop a plan for where we need to go next on behalf of the 110,000 students that need us. As we have shared, oftentimes we are certainly encouraged by the data that we are seeing across the system in a variety of external markers and indicators. However, we know that there is much more work to do. And so we heard it stated here that being out in our schools is one way to engage with the community, but also going to events where staff members are is another way. And this slide simply shows that this is part of the work that we do. We have regular ongoing meetings with advisories, with the Council of PTAs monthly, with internal staff, principals, as well as central office. We will be attending PTA meeting pop-ups to engage with families that are already there for meetings. And sending a survey to Team BCPS to ensure that the strategic plan that we present and move forward is reflective of as many voices as possible. In that same vein, I want to thank Ms. Weiland in particular for sharing on behalf of Decoding Dyslexia the comments that you made around the myths. Our work has been around the last 3 years engaging with our community, so everyone can look forward to an update in a future board meeting where we speak specifically about special education, speak to our interventions that we're providing and what upcoming trainings are available, as well as our related services to ensure that everyone is aware of the efforts that we are making and what the data is looking like at this point. We will continue to focus on all academic areas, but specifically literacy, mathematics, meeting the needs of multilingual learners, which WIDA results came out from the state today, and lastly, meeting the needs of our students that receive special education services. And so I thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers. Next is the chair's report. And so I'm going to focus on Happy Principal Appreciation Month. I'd like to highlight the vital role our Team BCPS principals play. Being a principal is a highly demanding and highly rewarding position. There is nothing that comes close to leading a school community. And while some of those responsibilities are visible, others would be considered other duties as required. Principals need the ability to cater. If you know a principal, you've seen him or her walk into their school building carrying bags of food on many occasions. Whether it's the back-to-school breakfast, the teacher appreciation lunch, or just the my staff needs chocolate today, the skill set as principal includes catering. There's the ability to be a good sport. As a principal, you must be ready to be dressed up in a silly costume and do goofy things in front of hundreds of laughing students and staff. Whether it's being taped to a wall or told to sit on top of your school building for the amount of minutes that students have read, the skill set of a principal must include having a sense of humor and humility. And then there's the ability to cheer the loudest. Whether cheering at a safe racer competition, a school production, a basketball game, a dance recital, or even at the very first elementary band performance, and if you know, you know, somebody knows, principals possess the skill set of cheerleaders, and nobody cheers louder and with a bigger heart for their students than a school principal. But seriously, principals are the driving force behind successful schools. They shape the vision, the culture, and daily operations that directly impact students, teachers, and the community they serve. Principals, your commitment to quality instruction, your ability to inspire staff, and your tireless work to create safe and supportive learning environments do not go unnoticed. You are often the first to arrive and the last to leave. Thank you for being mentors, advocates, and steadfast leaders who build bridges between students, families, and staff. Your leadership transforms your schools and creates lasting opportunity for all students. A growing body of research affirms what many have long known. School principals are crucial to student success. Effective principals significantly influence student achievement, second only to teachers among school-related factors. According to research from the Wallace Foundation, schools led by highly effective principals experience stronger student learning outcomes, improved teacher retention, and better school climates. The National Association of School Principals and similar organizations consistently emphasize that schools with strong leadership see measurable gains in student performance. Principals are unsung heroes whose day-to-day efforts lay the groundwork for student achievement and lifelong success. On behalf of BCPS Board of Education, thank you for your leadership, your vision, and your devotion. The research is clear. Great principals make great schools. Your work changes lives. Thank you. And next is our student member of the board report, and for that I call on Ms. Ongambe.
Good evening, Board Chair Mrs. Lichter, Vice Chair Mrs. Harvey, Superintendent Dr. Rogers, members of the board, staff, families, and the BCPS community. Over the past few weeks, I've had the opportunity to attend various committee meetings where we discussed important updates to policies and curriculum that directly shape the student experience in BCPS. These conversations are essential to ensuring our system remains responsive to student needs. Recordings of these meetings can be found under the Board of Education tab on the BCPS website for anyone interested in following along. Looking ahead, later this month is filled with exciting events that highlight both student voice and opportunity. In October, I'll be attending the first BCPS Mental Health Advisory Council meeting for the school year, which brings together educators, students, and community members to discuss how we can better support mental health in our schools. On October 22nd, BCPS will be hosting an HBCU college fair at Newtown High School. This is a powerful event and a great opportunity that connects students with representatives from historically Black colleges and universities and encourages exploration for higher education pathways. Later this month, I'm especially excited to see the BCPS Marching Band Showcase on October 25th, where our student musicians will share their hard work and school spirit with the entire community. This month also marks the start of one of my biggest goals for the school year, visiting a wide variety of secondary schools in BCPS. I'm eager to hear directly from students across the county. These visits will allow me to learn more about each school's unique culture, challenges, and successes, and to ensure your voice is represented at the board table. I'm also looking forward to the first Board of Selected Students meeting of the year and the upcoming BCSE seminar focused on school safety on October 22nd. Both will give students a platform to share their perspectives and ideas on how we can make our schools more supportive, inclusive, and secure. Lastly, I would like to wish our administrators a happy Principal Appreciation Month. Your contributions to Baltimore County are essential to the success of our students, schools, and community. As we continue through the fall semester, I'm grateful for all the students, educators, and community members who continue to engage in meaningful conversations about what makes our schools stronger. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is action taken in closed session, and for that I call on Mr. Burns. Good evening.
Good evening, Chair Lichter, Vice Chair Harvey, members of the board, Dr. Rogers. In closed session tonight, the board took action on two matters of appeal. One was HEA 25-014 and the other HEA 25-020.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the action taken in closed session on hearing examiner's case HEA 25-014 and authorize Ms. Gover to sign for those board members not physically present?
So move, Pumphrey.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second, Young.
Thank you. Any discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Jalewski?
Yes.
Dr. Savoy? Dr. Savoy? Mr. McMillian?
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Dominowski?
Yes.
Ms. Henn?
Yes.
Ms. Frempong?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Ms. Agumbe?
Yes.
Dr. Savoy?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Lichter?
Abstain.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve the action taken in closed session on hearing examiner's case HEA 25-020 and authorize Ms. Gover to sign for those board members not physically present?
So moved, Stileski.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second, Harvey.
Thank you. Any discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Jalewski?
Yes.
Dr. Savoy?
Yes.
Mr. McMillian?
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Dominowski?
Yes.
Ms. Henn?
Yes.
Ms. Frempong?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Ms. Agumbe?
Yes.
Ms. Lichter?
Abstain.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Burns. Yes. The next item on the agenda is contract awards, and for that I call on Mr. Young, Chair of the Building and Contracts Committee.
Thank you.
Members of the board's Building and Contracts Committee met on Monday, October 6, 2025. Items J1 through J12 were forwarded to the full board for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Board members, are there any additional separations? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve items J1 through J12?
So moved, Stoleski.
Thank you. No second is needed since the recommendation comes. Any discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Stoleski?
Yes.
Dr. Savoy?
Yes.
Mr. McMillian?
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Dominowski?
Yes.
Ms. Henn?
Yes.
Ms. Frempong?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Ms. Ogumbe?
Yes.
Ms. Lichter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the report on the progress of the Enterprise Resource Planning ERP system. And for that, I call on Mr. McCall, Mr. Corns, and Mr. Tantliff. Dr. Rogers?
Good evening again, Board Chair Lichter, Vice Chair Harvey, members of the board. As everyone is aware, 3 years ago, we began this mission with the goal of improving infrastructure in Baltimore County Public Schools. This is the third year in a row that members of this team are coming forward to bring to the board and members of our community an update of the enterprise resource planning system in Baltimore County Public Schools. I do want to bring forward for everyone's awareness that our ERP system, our legacy system, represents long-standing issues that we had in infrastructure in Baltimore County Public Schools. The ERP system and the deficiencies were noted as early as 2015 in the OLA report. They were also noted again in 2019 and repeated in the efficiency study. And so this team was charged with leading an effort across divisions, human resources, information technology, fiscal services, to overhaul the entire system. We moved from our legacy system of CGI to Oracle. We moved as a school system from an antiquated system to industry standard. And this involved well over 100 staff members, countless hours of meetings and planning. And this team will go through some of the work that they've been doing over the year. With that being said, we value all of our employees. I believe when they talk about the pay events that we've had, it represents more than 21,000 employees. And while we don't want anyone to have pay that is not accurate and that is not timely, 100% is always our goal, as it is the right thing to do. I also believe that we should allow the team to share in earnest the scope of what has occurred in this implementation, as well as that it is to be expected that moving from our systems, which was very much paper and pencil, we were still using up until July, buff index cards for leave and faxing in timesheets, that there is going to be a learning curve even with a year's worth of communication and training in a variety of modalities, that there is going to be a learning curve that comes with that. And our commitment remains to our people in Team BCPS, both the supervisors that now have a role in this, as well as the employees, as everyone is required to use the electronic system, including myself. Supervisors for a second level that help us to address some issues that are longstanding around accountability with fiscal measures, that there is going to be a learning curve with that. And I applaud the team's effort and commitment to responding in real time to the needs that come forward of individual employees, as well as groups of employees like supervisors, to which Mr. Burke spoke to, the team being so nimble that they're able to stand up support to respond to the needs as they arise during this transition. And so with that, I'll turn it over to, I think Mr. McCall, or Mr. Corns is on first. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Lichter, Vice Chair Harvey, Superintendent Rogers. We're going to start off our presentation as we have with each one of them as a reminder of what an ERP system is. So our Enterprise Resource Planning System, or ERP, from Oracle has multiple components. You would traditionally consider them HR, payroll, finance functions. Our implementation has multiple phases, and so the first two phases, which were our human capital management, HCM, which would be our traditional HR roles, and our payroll system were implemented in this past July 1st, 2025, with phases 3, 4, and 5 being our finance, budget, and our procurement modules going live with July 1st of 2026. So those implementation milestones are represented in this chart. There's a list of the services that you would find under each one of those. It's important to note here that with our implemented HR and payroll modules, we have post-go live support from our vendor that is takes two forms, one of which is our hypercare, which allowed us to have individuals from the implementation team stay with us for 3 months, as well as managed services, which is going to span the next 3 years, which gives us basically a hotline to call if we need support on a new implementation or a process change or any questions we might have about the system's implementation or how to adeptly manage its use. So we reached out to our partners at AST who have recently been purchased by IBM for a quote about our implementation. We anecdotally had been told that this is considered one of their top percentages of implementations with the speed at which it was done, that was on time and on budget, and that they were very pleased with the way that it went. The quote itself, AST IBM being grateful for the opportunity to collaborate with Baltimore County Public Schools on their Oracle Cloud, ERP, and HCM implementations. The dedication and hard work of the BCPS team was instrumental in the success of the HCM phase. The engagement stands out as one of the most efficiently executed K-12 HCM implementations by AST IBM. And it's from Daryl Cochran, who's their Vice President of Sales, who has been working with us. So with that, I'm going to hand this presentation over to Mr. McCall.
Good evening. I don't understand how things could actually be long yet short, but it was a productive, I would say, within the last 3 years, and it was a heavy lift across divisions. As Dr. Rogers mentioned earlier, over 100 BCPS employees directly were involved in the HCM payroll implementation. When you look across the entire divisions, of course, there were individuals who were also who were working behind the scenes that made sure that the continuity of operations continued, because these individuals in payroll as well as human resources had to dedicate 60% of their time to the implementation of this project. And so with that, of course, we have our subject matter experts as well as our business process leads who actually had to devote that time to the implementation. But yet, of course, as we look forward to the implementation, as Dr. Rogers also mentioned, it directly addressed several of the OLA audit findings from 2015 as well as 2019, and also those studies those issues that were actually identified in the efficiency study. And that goes across all the divisions, from human resources to fiscal, as well as in the Department of Information Technology. Also, I wanted to highlight that there were upwards of 100 separate communications written as well as video, that were actually sent out via School Messenger, through the Principal's Weekly, the News Hub as well. And of course, the screenshot here is of a video that was produced by BCPS-TV, where highlighted some of those changes that were coming from as we transition from CGI to Oracle. In addition to that, we wanted to make sure that everyone understood that, that we do provide timely as well as accurate responses to those individuals who may have experienced some of the issues as we transitioned. So as we look to transition to industry standards, one of the things I want to highlight here is that Oracle is a product that allows our applicants to be able to apply, submit their application online. Through single incumbency, they are also able to identify that position for which they're applying to, and it's a seamless flow of transition from that applicant submission of application to identify the supervisor as well as the FTE and that title code. That helps us to prevent overstaffing for our individuals, also related to the efficiency study. Then training and HR community SharePoint was created so that those information that our current employees within the system may see that's in the front forward facing on our website to public view is now on our SharePoint site, where those who have BCPS credentials can actually then go to find information about Oracle, also submit documents. For instance, if somebody's looking for tuition reimbursement, be able to submit those documents directly through the SharePoint site. We want to make sure that everyone is aware that we do have the Customer Service Center for support for not only our active employees, but also for our retirees. They've been very instrumental in providing responses to those individuals who may have experienced some challenges. And with that, their first triage is there within the Customer Service Center. And then if they're, of course, if a ticket has to be elevated to that specific department or that office, then of course it is elevated to that specific office for a specialist to be able to handle. But our first line of defense is for our Customer Service Center to be able to provide that support to those individuals who are calling, active employees as well as retirees. And then, of course, I believe Mr. Corns mentioned about the hypercare support that AST/IBM is providing for our human resources as well as payroll, for that intensive support that is beyond our go-live date, so that they're readily available to us to be able to help solve those any of the challenges that may arise. This slide here is our union collaborations. We wanted to make sure that everyone's aware that meetings began with our unions back in November of 2024. Our union leaders are reviewed and they've vetted the communications that actually have been sent out to Team BCPS, and were able to provide input and ask questions as we transition to Oracle. And then staff held sessions with our union leaders regarding pay and arrears, and met with them and membership as requested. Then communications for members and system communication to membership, highlighting the key information. As you see here, these are screenshots from several of our union partners that were sent to their respective memberships. Went too fast. And of course, here wanted to also highlight the communications that were sent out, various communications were sent out to Team BCPS and our Update Express, as well as information about moving to pay and arrears, and then accessing Oracle Cloud on the go. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention, and of course, this is a perfect segue for my colleague, Mr. Wood-Tantliff.
Thank you. As has been alluded to and mentioned earlier, we have had a significant employee engagement. We have lots of online resources that we've pushed out that employees can jump into and get trained on almost any aspect of the system at any time. We've had for the past several weeks drop-in sessions with supervisors where we had a wide range of employees from around the organization that could answer any questions at all that supervisors might have. We did some hands-on with them. Pay and arrears, the notice went out to employees last June, and we've had lots of communications on arrears and tried to explain that to employees. We offered an advance to employees to bridge the gap when we first went to arrears. Both at the principal's leadership development training next week and the central office counterpart that we have coming up, we will offer training and drop-in sessions there where we can answer questions. We've had tons of communications, as been mentioned earlier today and earlier in the presentation by the superintendent since last November. And we've had working with our bargaining unit partners, as Mr. McCall just mentioned. So here's just kind of a few highlights on the payroll system. Since July, when we went live, we've had 7 pay dates, almost 95,000 pay events that have occurred for close to 22,000 BCPS employees. So a tremendous amount of transactions. The payroll processes the data that we receive from the school and offices. Good data leads to good outputs. As has been mentioned a little earlier today, there have been challenges at times. When things have gone off, we've tried to walk people through the system. Besides the group trainings we've had, if anyone gets stuck at some point, if a pay is wrong, we're reaching out to employees, reaching out to schools, and trying to provide one-on-one training as much as possible, addressing any issues that come up. We went from weekly payroll, so I think everyone here knows we half employees got it one week, half the next week. So payroll was going every week doing a payroll. We now do it every other week, so it should be much more efficient once we get all the bugs worked out of the system. And we have had an accuracy rate of about 98%. We absolutely want to get that to 100%, but with this many transactions, 2% is 2% too many, and these are some of the things that have been highlighted earlier this evening. Process and procedures, as I mentioned, when we have a pay issue, we're trying to address that as quickly as possible, either through the payroll team. I get questions, HR gets questions, Mr. Corns gets questions, and we really try to turn those around as quickly as possible. Might not be the same day, but we'll get them done quickly and addressed, and hopefully get, if there is a pay issue, get it all trued up by the next pay date. So, let's see, did I miss one? No. Okay. As we transition from our legacy payroll system to our payroll and human capital systems from CGI to Oracle, CGI, as the superintendent had mentioned, had reached its end of life. We've had several audit findings on the system that we needed to make some improvements. The transition provided us with the opportunity to standardize our practices and procedures, build efficiencies, and use industry standards. So when you go through a process like this, you kind of try to do everything from scratch, figure out what you have to do, but build everything as efficiently as possible using the standards that our consultants have from other implementations they've done. This slide represents some of the results we've had today as we implemented the first 2 phases of the project, human capital and payroll. So standardization, as I mentioned, we've gone to complete electronic time and attendance. The superintendent mentioned we used to have a lot of paper going back and forth. We went to pay in arrears. We went to the biweekly payroll from weekly, which has been mentioned. And we're really trying to get everything fully automated as the system goes forward. So I think that is everything that we have for you today. Thank you.
And I wanted to take a moment just to add, I wanted to thank the team, the gentleman here presenting tonight, as well as the other folks who were engaged in this work. As they indicated, more than 100 BCPS staff have been working on this for over a year. And so it has indeed been a Herculean effort. And the move to industry standard is certainly not without a glitch here or there, but I think that the overall work is exemplary and a testament to the work of the team. We heard tonight remarks from from both the head of TABCO and the head of CASE related to concerns or things that have come up. And I think what's key in both of those, and I appreciate them acknowledging the outreach that has occurred on behalf of this team and others to collaboratively problem solve, to address issues as they arise. And so just to humanize, what is happening, I do want to state, as I did at the last board meeting, that while this is not a pervasive issue, it is critically important that we recognize that, behind every issue, no matter how small, is an individual who is impacted in some way, and it is critically important that we respond quickly and we respond with compassion. And so I will say that even in my office, Joelle Bilski, I want to just certainly mention her name. I know she has personally taken calls, walked people through processes. She is not alone. She is just an example of BCPS staff who've picked up a phone and walked an employee from beginning to end to resolution to make sure that they are whole and they are okay. We heard tonight people being concerned about being able to pay bills. I will tell you that I know this team has written to mortgage companies, they have contacted creditors, they've done things on behalf of BCPS employees to make certain that they were okay as we go through this transition. Again, not a pervasive issue, but it is critically important that people understand that we value BCPS employees, that it is all hands on deck, that we are committed to doing everything we can to maintain the integrity of this implementation, but also to assure our employees that we are absolutely committed to making sure that they have what they need as we go through this process. So thank you for allowing me to sit in really quickly and to make that point, and to publicly thank the team, those sitting here as well as those who are not, for all of the work they've done.
Thank you. And thank you for the report and for all the hard work that's gone into this, this system. Are there questions or comments from board members? Ms. Pumphrey?
Hi. Thank you, first of all, for the presentation, and also, as Ms. Charlie Green mentioned, for the hard work that you've put in this past year, you and also staff members who aren't present. We know that change is always, can be difficult, even when it's necessary. So I appreciate that both the superintendent and Ms. Charlie Green acknowledge the human individuals behind the issues that are going. So regardless of how small of a number that is, we have to acknowledge that each of these people, some of them may be working paycheck to paycheck, and that we recognize that difficulty. So I also wanted to acknowledge them as well. So my questions are, first, when there is a mistake made, and as one of you mentioned, we've moved from paying every week to every 2 weeks, is there something that can be done in between that period to reimburse employees, or do they have to wait the full 2 weeks to be reimbursed for any corrections that need to be made?
What we've been doing is, if someone doesn't get paid, we're cutting them a manual check. If there's a hardship situation, we're cutting a manual check in between pays. But for most situations, the system self-corrects the next pay. So we are trying to make all the corrections on the next pay and let the system roll the way it was designed. But we are addressing any hardship or extreme examples.
Okay, so if there are extreme examples, educators can, or staff members can reach out to you all and ask for a manual check to be cut in between those 2 week pay, in between that 2 week pay period. Is that correct?
Yes, the communication comes through a variety of channels to us, and then we'll reach out to them and discuss the situation.
Okay, thank you. And one other question. Are employees able to see their paycheck in advance or pay stub in advance so that they can be aware as soon as possible of any differences that may come, whether it's a fault of their own or a fault of the system? Are they able to see that in advance to be prepared for when the next paycheck comes that may be incorrect or may need to be adjusted?
Pay stubs in Oracle right now are available on payday, so that Friday. That is a change from what we had with CGI. We may be able to make it a little earlier over time, but right now it's not available till Friday.
Okay, so when you say not available, is that through Oracle, through the system, or just that's our process at this point?
Ms. Pumphrey, if I could jump in. It's through Oracle that it's not available until the day of, but I think what the team should highlight, and especially for people who do their payroll, is Oracle, you've heard to some points, is even annoying because it always gives you a confirmation email. So part of the communication that we've sent and part of the training that we're trying to have everyone do is, once you put your pay in, when you see that confirmation email, double check it to make sure that the hours that show up on that email are the hours that you put in. That's one of the ways that we're training staff members, because that's your first alert that something is wrong. If you've put in a certain number of hours, or you thought you put in a certain number of hours and there's an error and you didn't catch that message, we're asking people to go back in and confirm that. Oracle, we did talk about this probably more than a month ago, about how early people can see pay slips, because in the past, in the CGI system, people could see them at the beginning of the week. As Mr. Tantliff has said, they went back, I think, and pushed a little harder to see if we can extend that beyond the day of, but the response the last time we requested was, that systems have it the day of is the standard. I know with many financial institutions, people are able to see the amount of funding a few days in advance as another alert. And so in the interim, we are sending out communication about different ways to check. Maybe it's not the traditional seeing the entire pay stub with all of the details as they were used to previously, but are some of the other ways that they can be flagged, alerted to a concern before the day of.
Thank you. And just to make sure I'm clear, the confirmation email that staff receives, that just shows their hours that they've put in. Is that correct? Or does it give any other information?
Yes, after you put in your hours, after you, put in leave, once that's approved, you get an email back automatically that your leave has been approved. If you've put in your hours and your supervisor then approves your hours, then you get an email from Oracle saying exactly how many hours you were scheduled for, how many hours you worked, and then it gives you every single day the number of hours that you put in. If 30 minutes was deducted for lunch, what the actual hours is for the day that is counting towards your paycheck. All of those details are available, and it's automatic.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Ms. Pumphrey, I want to there was one clarification as I listened to what you were feeding back. Mr. Tantliff spoke about doing payroll every week. We had a split system where the salaried employees were paid, and then the next week the hourly employees were paid, and then the next week the salaried. So every employee was always on a 2-week cycle. It was just different parts of the system were paid on a different week cycle. So we didn't, employees weren't receiving paychecks on every week. They were still in a bi-weekly process, but 2 different groups being paid, and we merged them all into one.
I understand, and I'm sorry if I didn't.
Why?
I mainly asked the question just to see, because if we were on the old system, would there be a difference in being able to reimburse when there was a mistake? That was the reason for my question, but thank you.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, thank you, I appreciate that.
Ms. Zaleski?
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. And in response to the offer or the wonderful thing that you've done on behalf of employees in terms of reaching out to mortgage companies, et cetera, and I know that we've received commentary regarding that concern. Is there somebody specific that a staff member should reach out to if that is a need that they have? Thank you.
So we do have a customer service center, and we invite staff to go there. But we also know that when we get inquiries through our associations, those are funneled through our manager for staff relations, Ms. Joelle Bilski. And so she's been working directly with the associations, because we do payroll matters, we do work directly with the employee. And so those are the 2 avenues, CSC being first, and then certainly anything that comes to us through the associations, that goes to Ms. Joelle Bilski. And we did, Ms. Zaleski, provide an FAQ for staff members that was sent directly to them that includes that information as well.
Great. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Harvey?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, everyone, for providing this information. I am glad to hear as well that we're acknowledging that even one person not receiving the pay that they've earned deserves an individualized response. So I have 2 questions. One is, when you prepare for a transition this big and a system this big, you anticipate that there are going to be some glitches and challenges, and you set up a system to be responsive to it. Now that we are so many weeks pays into this, how are you adjusting your responsiveness to reduce that number from 2% to 0% of glitches? And then my second question is, can you just talk a little bit about the switch to pay in arrears, what that means, and what impact it has on the staff?
Well, the first thing I'd say is most of the errors that come up are, think about it this way, when iPhone pushes out a new iOS, Apple is the most sophisticated company in the world. They think it's perfect. But once you have millions of users, little bugs open up that need to be addressed. And that's sort of what we saw, especially when all the teachers came back and our number of employees expanded. So as we find issues, most of them can be resolved and prevented from happening again in the future. Some of it's training, so we reemphasize that in the weekly communications. Some of it may be a fault of a system that our consultants need to work on programming. They may need to go back to Oracle to get some information, but we try to get rid of those, you know, if you want to call them bugs, glitches, or just human error each week. And so as we go on each week, most of those get pushed to the side. There's some we're still trying to work on, but that number should keep getting smaller and smaller every paycheck as we get smarter, as we address the different issues as they come up. So hopefully weeks from now, the number will be very, very small. Some of it's just system things that our consultants didn't realize, a flag that needed to be triggered, and they didn't realize they needed to do it, or it got overlooked. So we think those things will get much improved in the coming weeks.
There's another thing, if I could just add to this. Every week we have, I want to say probably at least 3 times a week, we have a payroll review meeting across the system, across divisions, human resources, staff from payroll, staff from CSC, actually review any of those challenges or issues in consultings as well. Thank you for that. Yeah. Actually, a part of those review meetings to see if there's any consistencies or something that looks where somebody's not getting paid and why. So we go into a deep dive into those meetings. And then, of course, like I said, it's at least 3 times a week that we're meeting with our consultants and across divisions to look at those challenges that have been elevated potentially either to us directly or through the CSC. And so that's just something I want to add to that, to this discussion.
And so, Ms. Harvey, when we went to pay in arrears, previous to that, all salaried employees had been being paid to date, and all of our hourly employees had gone to pay in arrears in, I believe, 2012?
A while ago.
Yeah, a while ago. So pay to date meant that we would generate payroll on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, but we were paying employees for the rest of the week because we were issuing pay on Friday. So let's say there's a scenario where I might take a day off, but I had no more days off, so I had to take a day without pay. But I'd already been calculated earlier in the week to be working all 5 days. And so then there became a payroll issue that had to be adjusted because I had taken a day without pay, but I'd already been calculated. That's where our pay to date really was causing us the most problems. So we went to pay in arrears at the very end of June and into the July 11th payday. In order to minimize that, to go to true pay in arrears, we would have had to skip a payday and then pay 2 weeks after that skipped payday for the 2 weeks that were for the skipped week. So we would have gapped our employees by about a month. So we were able to work with our vendor to identify that if we were to move to pay in arrears, we could have that July 11th payday represent a pay cycle that occurred at the end of June, but employees had already received pay for part of that. So for 5 days in June,
I had received my pay for those days. When we moved into arrears, we lapped that plus a week where we had not paid the employees yet. So we were able to skip only 3 weeks, and then we issued paychecks to salaried employees that represented 5 days of their salary. We then turned around and went to employees and said, if this is going to pose a hardship, we would like to offer you a pay advance that would allow you to have close to a full check. So that pay advance then was issued to the employees on that July 11th paycheck, and then the pay advance is being collected back from each of their paycheck for 20 paychecks until the end of this school year, so that we were able to have that conversation, because there was a very healthy conversation in cabinet about the idea that we didn't want to judge anyone's ability to have that gap, so we were to offer that pay advance to whomever. So that's how we went into arrears. Then we did that for our 12-month employees, and then we turned right around, and when the teachers came back, we had to do the same basic process for them. Where there was a gap, we gave them a paycheck for 5 days, we offered a pay advance, and then they were in arrears as well. So what this will look like is, as I work through my career, at some point, I may choose to retire, or whatever it might be, and I will receive a paycheck 2 weeks after I leave the employee of Baltimore County, because I am in arrears. And so that's how that works. And Baltimore County is my 4th school system, and every other school, all other 3 school systems I've worked in have all been in arrears for multiple years. So it is a standard that we do.
Thank you.
Other questions? Let me check the teams. Mr. Million, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Mr. Tantleff, about 4 years ago, the previous board voted on an option for 10-month employees to have their money stretched out over 12 months. Is that still in effect?
Yes, it's still in effect. And this year, ESPBC employees could do it also, this school year that just started.
Meaning that any 10-month employees within that group then had that option available to them?
Correct.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? I don't see any hands on teams. Okay, thank you very much for that.
Thank
and we will look forward to your next visit with us. And Mr. McCall, don't go anywhere.
Go anywhere.
The next item on the agenda is the report on human resources update, and for that I call Mr. McCall and Ms. Stansberry. Good evening.
So tonight we were going to bring in a human resources update to you. Of course, today I have with me Ms. Susan Stansberry. I say the competent Susan Stansberry, who is the Director of Staffing and Licensure. To be careful about that, because she was the one who actually filled my shoes when I left the director position. So I don't want to say too much about that. So
We're going to talk about that next.
all right. So next slide. Here we go.
Thank you. So good evening. We're going to start off talking about the last few years of teacher staffing on opening day of school. And you'll see on this chart that in 22-23 school year, we started with over 300 vacancies for teachers. And this year, we actually made great strides and started with 34.4 vacancies. And as of the end of last week, I'm happy to say we're down to 28. So we've really made some great wins across the teacher staffing for the start of the school year.
So I see why you're saying that was the reason.
I think 2023,
I was
Homer might
director.
have been the director of staffing. Just, that could be the piece, right?
Well, I want to bring to your attention the teacher resignations. Over the last 3 years, of course, we've seen a decrease of 27% in our teacher resignations from school year 22-23 at 746 to 24-25 at 543. The one thing I want to, of course, which I think has been asked before, is about the exit surveys. Currently in Oracle, we do have a link that is provided in Oracle for our staff members who do resign or retire, what have you, from the system, to actually complete information on reasons that go beyond the reasons that are exhibited for resignations or retirements. And in this particular survey, of course, it is completely voluntary, so that information that we collect from them is at will for that employee as they submit their resignations. More importantly, what we'd like to include is information about the state conferences. That is something that we've instituted, of course, to see those reasons why individuals are staying with Team BCPS. In this next slide, you see the teacher retention rates. I think this may have been shared with you previously. Over the last 3 years, of course, we've seen a steady increase in our BCPS teacher retention rate. In 22-23, we're at 89.91. The following year at 90.98. 90.84, and then 24-25 at 93.5%. And as we look across nationally as well as the state, we do see that we're above that for the nation, as well as for Maryland, which is at 89.3. So what are some of the reasons why we're able to retain these teachers? We have, of course, at the beginning of our school year, mandatory NEO, or New Educator Orientation Week, and then the skillful training, teacher training, year-long NEO supports for our teachers, then the revised mentorship program, but also keep in mind that we still have our consulting teachers, staff development teachers, and educator retention teachers. Those are school-based positions there. I'll turn it back over to Susan.
Thank you. Next, I want to talk about our recruitment. So with, as you know, we're into Oracle and our online recruitment cloud, and our candidates now have a great opportunity. It's a smooth, user-friendly system where it's fairly intuitive, and they start with their application there. They go through the hiring process right in Oracle. They begin their onboarding journeys, and they become an employee all right within the system to smoothly transfer over all their information and have accurate information and employees in the right positions as we bring them on board. Both candidates and current employees have the opportunity to utilize the talent community. That's an opportunity where they can go on and express interest in different types of positions. They may not see something posted today that they're looking for, and then they will get an alert when we do post a position within that type of employment that they're looking for. Another piece of our recruitment is our partnerships with our colleges and universities. We do have our BTAP program continuing. That's a real focus for our paraeducators to become teachers, and we work closely with Loyola on that. We work with Towson University to be able to offer administrator and supervisor endorsements for many of our teachers to extend their careers with us. This year, we had a great opportunity to work with Towson for their Fed to Ed program to identify federal workers who were looking to transition into education. And as you know, we have a national shortage still, so gaining more and more people to come to education is critical. And a lot of our partnerships do focus on how our teachers can then become professionally certified. With Goucher, we have programs for people to become professionally certified through secondary content areas as well as special education. And then we also have Moreland University is a new partnership that we've just established this year, and they are helping us to be able to professionally certify both elementary and ESOL content teachers. Another partnership that we have is with CCBC. They do a lot of work for all of our teachers who are conditionally certified to work through their own individual programs. In addition, we are working on a Maryland-approved alternative preparation program with them in order to become professionally licensed for special education. Bowie State University has been an ongoing partnership for us, and there we work with specifically a master's program for special education. And McDaniel has been a partner over the years as well, and we have secondary content areas to become, again, professionally certified as well as world languages. So those are just some of the important pieces of how we can continue to retain our teachers, to what Mr. McCall was discussing, as well as ensure that they're professionally certified. A big piece of our fall recruitment is also hosting different fairs. We have this month, we're working on a related services fair that'll be coming up. We are working, we work in conjunction with our schools and our students to participate in the annual HBCU College Fair. And then we also have in November a fall fair where we will be working to recruit for all of our different positions throughout the district. We will be attending career fairs at HBCUs this year. Morgan State University, we actually were just there last week. Coppin State University, Delaware State University, and Bowie State University. We will be working with all of their career fairs and attending those events. In addition, we also attend a large number of education fairs. To highlight a few, this fall we have the University of Maryland. Their College of Education always asks us to participate in an evening with their students. We meet students from a variety of different, they could be sophomores, juniors, and seniors. We have an opportunity to interact with them through the evening. We sit on a panel there where we are able to answer questions with other employers, and then we help them prepare for interviews for their future as well. So we really get a nice evening with students at the University of Maryland. We're going to be attending the education fair with Frostburg State University, and then we also have the American Association of Employment, where we'll be attending that fair as well. In addition to those fairs, we also continuously are working with social media and online opportunities through LinkedIn, Indeed, and then Diversity in Ed. We are a member and have a great opportunity to work through their candidate pools and reach out to candidates for all of the events that we host. They help us to really publicize that through their membership.
And with that, of course, we thank you.
So thank you for that presentation, and the outreach that you just described is very exciting. So thank you. I'm sure that is a tremendous amount of work to be at all those events. Questions or comments from board members? Mr. McMillian?
Thank you. I got real excited. Sunday, I ran into a Chesapeake graduate who's a paraeducator, and she's in the Grow Your Own program. So she's been in the classroom for 8 years as a paraeducator. She has 1 year to go to get her degree. And I questioned her about student teaching. If she had to student teach, considering that she had spent 8 years in the classroom, and she responded yes. Are there any waivers for something like that, or is that strictly up to the college that she's associated with?
It is. It depends on the program that the individuals are with.
Okay.
Sometimes the undergraduate is a little less likely to allow them to opt out, whereas if they've already completed a bachelor's program and they're in a master's program, they can teach simultaneously while they complete their student teaching.
Now, back in the day, and I admit that I'm older than dirt, that I was certified K through 12, and we had to spend 16 weeks in student teaching. We had to student teach 8 weeks in elementary and 8 weeks in a secondary setting. I'm curious, I don't know how long they have to student teach now, especially considering that she's going to be an elementary major. She is an elementary major. If there's no waiver, what happens to her pay if she was a para and now she has to do the student teaching piece in order to get the degree? Do we pay her in any form?
So what we could do, if you want to send her our way and we could actually talk with her directly on her specifics, we'd be happy to entertain
Now, she
those
didn't
questions.
ask me to do any
I
of
got
this.
you.
It was
Okay.
just in conversation.
Right.
You
I
know, it came
understand.
about, and then of course, I spent hours thinking about it.
Oh,
so.
absolutely. No,
Okay.
we certainly don't want to lose anyone, but we'd certainly be happy to follow up with her to explore what are those options for her.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sure.
Ms. Domanowski?
Yes, I just had one question about our partnerships with the colleges and universities. What steps are we taking to ensure that these programs for our educators to get certified or master's degrees or whatever, that these courses are aligned with best practices for our educators, that they're not learning something that, we necessarily don't want the incorrect way of teaching? I know there's different signs of reading, and we want to make sure that they're being taught that the correct way for science of reading or practical math applications. How are we making sure? What are our steps to make sure that those, are aligning with the best practices and standards for teaching?
Sure, I'll get started. So, two things. I think Ms. Stansberry will probably speak to the rubric that is used, that the team goes through before even making a recommendation of a cohort to their chief before it comes to the Board of Education. That is a part of our rubric, but additionally, we are fortunate in the state of Maryland that the State Department is making these things that you mentioned, specifically around standards of mathematical practice, science of reading, a requirement across the state. So I think those two things, if I missed anything, please add. I think those two things are the ways that we're ensuring that the partnerships that we engage in are preparing our staff members to meet the needs of the students in our classrooms.
It's cross-divisional when we look across to determine which cohorts we want to work closely with, so we ensure that it is meeting the needs of the teachers' office as well.
You go, I know the state's making that a requirement. I'm just making sure that the college and university is making sure it's a requirement in their course to align with that standard.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and they provide us, when we work with them as a partnership, they provide us exactly what their programs are going to entail. And then we have a rubric that we look across, and it's cross-divisional. It's just not HR looking at it to say, is this something that we work with, all the divisions to ensure.
Thank you.
Other questions? I had a question. You had mentioned the stay conferences so I know exit conferences, but how do you determine who gets a stay conference, or how are you doing that sampling?
So when we look across the system, we see individuals who are actually at least, we say, 10 years or more, and you may look at critical need areas like math or science, which everything's critical now, right? So we definitely use those as factors to determine which individuals we do survey for those state conferences. And that's not just with teachers, because we also look across the system as well when you're looking at other positions in operations. So to that point, though, we have a number of different factors, 10 plus years, critical need areas that we're looking at.
Okay. Thank you. Let me see if we have anybody on Teams with a question. Don't see anybody. Anybody? Okay. Thank you very much for that report.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is board member comments and agenda setting, if you have any. So if you do have a comment or an agenda setting item, please raise your hand, or you can email me the agenda item. We will meet later in the week. Ms. Harvey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A few things. One, just thank you to our principals for all the work you do for our students and our families and for the system. Two, I wanted to thank those persons who spoke on public comment around the need for services in special education. I appreciate the dialogue, and I was encouraged to hear Dr. Rogers state that they are already working on providing some updated information to us. And the last thing is a agenda item request. I would like to have an update on the Northwest Career and Technical Education, CTE for short, center that is in development, on the funding, the planning, and where we are in the process for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else at this time? Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes, I would like a report regarding any procedure changes that may have come regarding immigration enforcement. I know that there was an emergency House Bill 1006. I'm not sure if it affects us or not, but I'd like to find out if it does. And of course, that would be anything that would be safe to announce publicly as far as procedure is concerned. Specifically training for faculty and our response procedure, and any counseling for students or faculty members if detention occurs.
Thank you. Ms. Daleski?
Thank you. Just two quick things. The first thing, I'm sure that Dr. Rogers would do this because she's terrific about it, but definitely given the 21,000 employees that are currently impacted with their paycheck, just regular updates. I know that you normally do, but maybe
Let me clarify that, Ms. Stileski. There are 21,000, I think it's 368 employees who receive paychecks. That's not people who have had issues with paychecks.
Okay.
That's
Gotcha.
how many people receive a paycheck every 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you. I know it's a very, very small percent, but certainly as you work through the issues, just a regular update, as you normally do, would be greatly appreciated. And then the second thing just piggybacks on what Ms. Harvey said about special ed, and I want to thank all of the community members that have spoken both in email and in person tonight. And I just think specifically it would be really important to have specific data on speech and language, school psychologists, and special ed in general, including the changes in the percent of virtual employees compared to previous years, and workload and caseload changes as well from previous years. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Still rating. Let me check Teams to see if anyone's hands up. Do you see anybody, Ms. Harvey? Okay. Okay. The next item on the agenda is announcements. The board's next meeting will be held on Tuesday, October 21st, 2025 at 6:30. Thank you for joining us tonight, everyone. The meeting is now adjourned.